Hi, I'm Dave Hilgendorf, and welcome to episode 29 of Wednesday Work Advice. And today I wanted to talk about a video I saw recently of an apologist and a academic leader in the Christian community by the name of John Lennox. And he's from the UK. And if you haven't heard of him, I would encourage you to check him out. Just look him up on YouTube. He's had some pretty well-known debates with atheists like Richard Dawkins and others. And this video came up as part of the Colson Fellows discipleship program that I'm participating in this year. And we were doing an analysis of this video. And this particular video, and I'll provide a link in the notes for this episode, was when he spoke to the University of Harvard, or Harvard University's medical school students. And it was on the topic of suffering. And the moderator for the event clearly had a naturalistic or an atheistic worldview. And there were some opening remarks in the video, but most of the talk was actually Q&A. And I wanted to just share some of the points that I made as I was analyzing the video, and talk about how maybe we can apply this to others at work. And so the first thing that I noticed was that he chose to keep his remarks brief, and then immediately went to the question and answer where the audience and the moderator was actually able to be involved. And I think there's just a quick lesson from that is, as much as we would love to hear ourselves talk in general, particularly at work, the more we can ask questions of others that we are working with, I think the better, and to involve their opinion instead of just trying to get across our opinion. So that was one thing I thought was worth noting. He was very self-deprecating, kind of a big word, but not one that I use that often, but I think it's very descriptive. And basically, in other words, he kind of poked fun at himself, and also at his university where he worked. He kind of, in a good-natured way, he poked fun of Oxford University a bit, and I think that's a good thing. We shouldn't take ourselves too seriously, and so I think that's a lesson we can take into the workplace as well, is when we can, in a good-hearted way, poke fun at ourselves, and don't beat ourselves up. You know, God didn't make junk, and so not in that sense, but in a good-natured sense, it can ease tension to kind of poke fun at ourselves sometimes, and I think that's a good lesson as well. When he got into the Q&A, I found myself getting defensive just listening to the moderator ask the questions that he was asking, and yet you never got that sense from him. And so in other words, he didn't react the way it would be very tempting to react. Instead, he calmly responded to the challenges or the questions that were brought to him, and I think that's an important lesson as well. And kind of another part of that is that he was clearly prepared with his remarks, and they were coming from you could tell from his convictions. They weren't just memorized responses. You definitely got a sense that this was part of who he was. And I think that's something that we can take to our work as well. We don't want to be putting on a show, so to speak, at work. We should be authentic about who we are, and people will see that, particularly if in any way we are sharing anything about our faith, or but even if it's not about our faith, even just in general, the more authentic we can be, where people kind of can tell we're comfortable in our own skin, that's really powerful. And so that, I thought, was a good lesson as well. There are others, but it just was such a great talk that I thought there's definitely some gems here that can apply to the workplace. And when I sat down and started thinking about it, the ideas came easily. So again, I hope you check out the video, but even if you don't, I hope some of these thoughts can help you in your work. See you next time.